spread a little aloha around the world at breakfast with Bob.
Thank you, Poncho Man. Welcome back, everybody. Breakfast with Bob, our Kona World Championship edition. My name is Bob Babbitt. We are brought to you by HOKA Fly Human Fly, Master Spa's Precision Fuel and Hydration, crush your race nutrition, Deboer Wetsuits, Outrigger Kona Resort and Spa, stay longer, save more, and of course, our Challenge Athletes Foundation. We've now raised $191 million and sent out over 52,000 grants to keep challenged athletes in the game of life through sport. Our next guest, two-time Olympian, two-time Olympic silver medalist, three-time Ironman 70.3 world champion, ranked number one in the world by the Pro Triathletes Organization. The great Taylor Knibb joins us from her secret hideout in Kona, Hawaii. Taylor, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you, Bob?
I am wonderful. Anytime I get to chat with you is a great day. I love that. So I was just adding up some stuff the other day of the races you've done that aren't world triathlon races since 2021. And I'm looking at 20 races, 13 wins, 5 seconds, 2/3. The only time you were off the podium in 20 races was a fourth in Kona. 19 podiums in 20 races, 13 wins. I don't know if you see that very often, Taylor. That's pretty amazing. When you made this move to longer distance, you have any idea that this was the perfect distance for you, or the longer distance were that good for you?
Well, ironically, the first thing I think of when you say that is my 19th at the Olympics and my 19th in the time trial at the Olympics. So of course that's where your mind goes. And like I don't really see it as different because it's just racing. And so like whoever's on the start line, whoever I'm fortunate enough to
Yeah.
race, like, like it just is what it is. Yeah, I couldn't have expected it. But it's also, it doesn't give you a head start in any races in the future. So you have to keep working and improving. And it's not really the goal. It's just kind of like, how well can I race?
Exactly. And obviously, when you look at the two marathons, I love the fact that you've only done in being involved with the sport since in the long distances 2021, that you have not done a lot of Ironman. Those things take years off your life. They're brutal. And you've done in both of those, your marathon has not been even a 3:04 and a 3:05. That's not Taylor Knibb. That's you. You're going to be way, way faster than that.
Well,
Knowing,
hopefully, you never know. I
right,
mean,
yeah, true. Is
yes, but I can tell you that based on this build, I was not very prepared for Texas. So I'm
right.
like, it's kind of good to learn now. I'm relieved I didn't know that then. But as the seasons get longer, it's kind of tough to plan them because like, so last year, for example, I was ready to race beginning of March. And within like, except for like 4 weeks in August where I got sick and I was still like, I got sick, so I was recovering from that and then building back. I was ready to race probably from March 1st until December 14th last year, which is a long time.
Yes.
And so then like this year, it's a post-Olympic year. And so it needed to be a little bit easier. So I've only raced 4 times so far. I've only left the North American continent. Well, if you count this, twice now. But
Right.
I went to London once. So I've had like less than 10 flights. And so it's really trying to be like a mellow year and building up and for a big end of the year, hopefully. But who knows? You never know.
So is the plan still 2028 with LA and trying to do another Olympic shot?
Well, yeah. Well, well, you'd asked if the plan is still that. Um, it was not that for a few like so after Paris,
Yeah,
I was severely disappointed, but it was weird. I just felt liberated. Like I could do whatever I wanted. Like I didn't need
exactly.
to ever race another short course race in my life. But now like having been away from it for a little bit, I miss it. And like I promised myself you're not allowed to step on a start line in 2025 because like you want to see if you miss it or not. And I really do at this point. And then the LA schedule came out for the event schedule. And so the women's triathlon is the first event. It's July 15th. The
Yes,
time
it
trial is
is.
July 19th. The relay is the 20th. And then the road races are the 22nd and the 23rd. So it's kind of the perfect schedule.
Yeah.
Now a lot needs to fall into place and align, but and also in terms of developing, I mean, we see what the men's side is doing right now. And so the women's side's only going to get better and more competitive. So I think I need to go back to short course and improve a lot to increase my ceiling, hopefully.
Well, and the short course certainly plays into how well you've done in the long course, right? That speed transfers over, especially T100 and 70.3, don't you think?
Well, yes, and also just like being able to race. I mean, this year I would say one thing that I really miss is racing. I've only raced 4 times. I love racing.
Yes.
And when you're racing Ironmans, as you say, it takes years off your life. So you can't do it that often. But if I'm going to go race and I could race like let's say a few Olympics or sprints and you get to do it and you get to like experience that and also like experiencing the travel and just yeah, it's just cool. So it's a privilege to do what we do.
When you went to Ironman Texas, how underprepared were you?
It's probably a that's probably a better question for my coach. Yeah, yes, we'll see.
Yeah. But I think that makes perfect sense. You're coming off an Olympic year. You've got Kona in October. You got Marbella in November. You can't start, if you're talking about a Texas race, that means training really hard potentially in what, February, March, April. It's just too long a season. You can't do it and stay healthy.
Well, and also came in well, and also like I feel like so I'm 27. I hope that I have 10 to 15 more years in the sport. That's
Yeah.
very different from someone who might be 34 or 36 and they might have like a single digit number of years in the
Mhm.
sport. And we never know how many years we have in the
Of
sport.
course.
They could be in the sport longer than me. But coming off of a season that was so long and so exhausting, and I think I didn't realize it until like after the fact how like
Yeah.
just like physically mentally emotionally draining it is. I mean, I did 3 Olympic events and that was like a small blip. um yeah, so for Texas it was just like it was what it was and the whole goal was Kona validation, and I mean not validation, qualification. I had to qualify.
Right.
The rules have changed and so I qualified and I got the slot, and so it's like hopefully a crescendo towards the end of the year. But you know what, if not, it's my development as an athlete. And after Marbella there's also Qatar. Well, and I'm doing Dubai. So I'll be racing till December this year. So
Oh my God, that is a lot of racing. Uh,
yes.
when you look at obviously the Olympic format and the longer distance format, what do you look at as the best race you've ever had?
Best race I've ever had
Yeah, where
in
you just felt
triathlon.
in triathlon, the best race you've ever, or maybe it's a race that meant the most to you.
I would say probably one of the best races I ever had was Edmonton 2021,
Hmm.
the grand final. And it was kind of a race where it just kind of like all clicked and all came together, shockingly. And like I was like top 4 out of the water, I think, and I just like broke away on the bike immediately. But yeah, I think it's always like that, like the bits and pieces, and you're never really satisfied fully. Um, but also for me, it's also like when did you have to fight the most? And when was there the uncertainty? Because like there's also like there's a joy in just like racing and expressing yourself and having a day, but then there's also a like how long did you fight? And how long did you like doubt yourself? And the longer the
Hmm.
doubt, the longer the uncertainty, the more you have to sit with it. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. And I hope I never
Maybe.
have that answer.
Yeah, you probably won't have that answer because they're all, it's not, you never have that perfect day, especially as you start going longer distance. You're going to be going up and down. I remember one year, Jan Frodeno looked like he was in a Barca lounger leading the race the whole day. And I'm like, you just look amazing. And he goes, I was going to drop out 18 times. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, I felt terrific. There was my condo. And I'm thinking, how can I just sort of duck out here and go to the condo and maybe nobody will notice? You're like having all these weird discussions with yourself.
Wait, but he was leading.
Yeah.
So did
Oh,
he
he's
really think
winning.
that no one was noticing?
He's winning the race, and he's thinking, and he looks so easy, like it's I've got this in the bag, it's not a problem. But in mentally, he's thinking, oh my God, this is awful. I can't take another step. I'm going to be out of here. And actually, the other one was Cam Worth was telling me one year he did 8 full Ironman distance races, right? Because he was coming new to the sport. He was trying to learn this from cycling. So he felt like he needed not just do long workouts, but do long races so he could see how other people were doing it. So he says, I'm leading Challenge Roth, and here comes Sebi by me, and I'm thinking, he looks awful. This is on the run, right? Then Jesse Thomas goes by and goes, he looks even worse. And they ended up finishing first and second or first and third, and you realize it's not a beauty contest. They can look like crap, but they're still moving pretty damn fast. So it's, you learn from every race you have. What the first time you raced Kona, what do you take away from that?
Oh, well, I think I took a lot of things away from that experience.
Yeah.
And I think I also, and it's been tougher for me now to also reframe, I think, what I did well.
Hmm.
And one of the things I did really well was I really stuck to my plan and focused on myself. And kind of I was just like really at peace with the cards will fall as they do, and I didn't get pulled from my process. And like I didn't overswim. I overswim Texas a little bit, and I could feel
Mm.
that at the end of the marathon. I mean, I had 5 bottles on the bike. I lost 3 of them in the race. I only got
Yeah,
one penalty. Like I didn't freak out on that. And I problem solved over the course of the day. I rode to my numbers, which like, like in retrospect, it's kind of like what would have happened if I didn't and I actually raced it. And then on the run, like I'll always remember that last 10K. That's like, and people are like, yeah, it was a really tough day for you. And I'm like, oh no, it was an incredible 7.5 hours. And then it got really tough the last hour, which
yes.
I mean, for an Ironman, that's really fortunate. Like
Yeah.
it really, like it only really got tough the last 10K. So yeah, that's what it was. But
That is like and that's where you come away with. I sort of forgot about all the bottles that were just jet rocketing off of your bike. I'm like, what is going on here?
well, you know, so Julie Dibbins is here with me this week,
Yes.
and she was like, Taylor, there's apparently a rumor that spread that I put Vaseline on my bottles. I did not put Vaseline on my bottles, but I'm fascinated who started that rumor. Yes, but I kept losing the bottles, so it's what it is. But also at the end of the day, it was kind of like I was like, what are my goals? And I focused on them. But at the end of the day, it's also like Kona is just so special. It's the reason why I do this sport.
Hmm.
And it was just like a dream to be able to get to the starting line and race the race. And you can't forget that. You can't forget. I had some friends over a few days ago, and their son came over to the pool, and it was like a 20-minute drive for them, and he put his goggles on, like as they were getting in the car, and like that kind of excitement, like you kind of miss that sometimes. And so I had felt like I had that excitement, and that's what you want.
Well, that was you, right? That was you as a kid, right? When mom was over there doing the race, you were probably the one with the goggles on in the car going, we get to go play. We get to go look for turtles. Come on now, let's go.
Oh no, well, do you know, like actually my punishment as a kid was if I misbehaved, I wasn't allowed to go to swim practice. So
That was
like
your
that my
punishment.
punishment, yeah, my punishment was that I wasn't allowed to go. So yeah, that's just how it is.
And,
So
and most of us would be like, the punishment would be you have to go to swim practice and you don't want to go. It's like, oh my God, you had to go to swim practice. That is very cool. Now, when do the folks coming over?
well, my dad's here already, and my mom's racing, so she's entirely separate.
Wait,
So
mom is racing.
yes, remember how I think I probably told you like she says that it's her last race, and we're
Yes.
also like,
She's been
no,
saying
yeah,
a
of
long
course.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be. And so she's racing, and so she's going to be staying separately as her own unit. She has her own support crew, and so we'll be together but separate.
What is what's her age group now?
She's 62,
60 to
so
64. Okay. Nice.
yes.
That's awesome. Then was she racing 2 years ago when you were racing?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So this has to be like 10, 12, something like that, more for her. She's
For
done a
Kona
lot. Yeah.
or Ironmans? Oh,
Kona.
I don't know. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot. We kind of lose count. But you do know that so her first time here was in 2010. And my dad took my brother and I out to Kauai Harbor to watch
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so we like paralleled it. And so two stories. One was I met Dee Dee Griesbauer's father on the course.
Yeah.
And like I remember it because he was like so proud of her. He was telling me all about her. She'd been the top American the previous year. And like you could just like see that. And then this year I went to Dee Dee's holiday party and her parents were in town. And she's like, and this is my dad. Like, and he's like, nice to meet you. I'm like, actually, we met in 2010 on the Green. And he was so embarrassed that he didn't remember me. And I'm like, I don't expect you to remember me. I was this little like 12-year-old and you were very memorable. I was not. And so it was just kind of funny that 14 and a half years later we meet each other again. But like the people you meet in the sport. But then second was when my mom was coming up in the harbor. When she passed, my brother and I were fighting at the time. I mean, it's a few hours in,
It's
and
a long day.
my brother and I were not perfect children. We fought. And so we were not invited back indefinitely because she's like, the whole way back into town, all I was thinking that was that my kids were upset with each other and they were fighting and it wasn't good. She's like, so that was too stressful for me. She's like, you guys aren't invited back.
Oh my
So
God. So you didn't get to go back until you went to and qualified on your own and came back.
I
Oh
mean,
my God.
incentive enough. I mean,
Yes. My favorite parent story was Christy Wellington had won this thing 3 years in a row, 2007, 8, and 9. And every year she went from winning by 8 minutes to 15 minutes to half an, I mean, she was dominating. Then she didn't start the race in 2010. And in 2011, she crashed a couple weeks before the race. You know, it was going to be this great matchup, her and Marinda, who won the year that Christy didn't race. So you had the defending champion against the three-time champion. It was awesome. The women's story was it. So I'm out at Javi at the turnaround, and Chrissy had crashed a couple weeks before, so she was out of the water further behind than she normally is, right? So when we got to Javi, they're used to her kissing babies and waving to people by the time she's at Javi, and she's back in like 20th place. And Bob, what's going on? What's Chrissy? I'm like, it's going to be a race this year. It's going to be a tight one. I'm like, oh my God, she's out up the front. They were stunned because they had never seen her not win. They'd never seen her not off the front. She ended up winning, but by like 2 minutes over Marinda. But it was, yeah, the parents, they figured, oh, Chrissy will come by and she'll be waving and she'll be having a good time. But no, she wasn't having a good time. It wasn't one of those days. So the Olympic experience, obviously you get silver medal, 2 mixed relays. What is it about the mixed relay that is like, I think it's the coolest addition to our sport, is just what is so frenetic. The action is furious. It's so much fun. Is fun for you inside it, or is it stressful? Or both?
well, I think it's both. You can have both things. Like now, I think that the 200 distance in the Olympics would be even more fun, but that's
Yes, it
just
would.
selfishly
Yes.
and personally. I also think that a sprint distance time trial would be really cool in the Olympics, because imagine if you had the same athletes, like you had the Olympic distance draft legal, sprint
Yes.
distance TT, and then the mixed relay, and that's really like more like a cycling thing.
Oh, I
But
like that.
that would be an interesting addition, and that would be probably hopefully within the you could use the same athletes, so it wouldn't have any new
That's
athletes.
no other cost. That's what the Olympics likes that. So wait,
Yes.
when you're talking about sprint on the bike, or just a sprint try with
A
a
sprint distance
tie back?
non-draft in a time trial start. So you go off in
One
like two
person at a
minute
time.
intervals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you race your 750 swim, 20K bike, 5K run, see who comes out on top by time. But that's
Wow.
but I have ideas.
Yes. Well, the coolest thing ever was the first ever Olympic triathlon in 2000 in Sydney. The Lisa Lax, who produced the TV show for Ironman, she produced the Ironman TV show and produced the Olympics for NBC. So coming from Ironman, she pitched NBC on, hey, this new sport of triathlon is really cool. We can use it as a travelogue to show Sydney Harbor, to show the bridge. And so it became the lead-off event of the Olympics. The first
Oh wow.
ever women's triathlon was the first ever event in the 2000 Olympics. It was the coolest thing. Crowds were just, McKeely Jones says to this day, her never been in a race that loud in her life, because Australia was triathlon crazy. They're supposed to sweep the men and the women, and it was great. But yeah, so we ended up getting the triathlon as the lead in, just like we will in 2028. That's the
Well,
coolest thing,
yeah. Well,
having that.
hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. But the
So
relay is special, and like just getting to like join, like be on a team, like
yes,
because it's like having the team sport. But it was very funny. Taylor Spivey was so nervous for me
yes.
before the race, and she's like you remember like a quick transition, like, are you ready, Taylor? Are you ready? And I'm like, Taylor, oh my God, thank God we don't do team events more often, because you are making me even more nervous.
So you are one of the few people, because you were basically on two teams. You're on the cycling team and on the triathlon team. Did you notice difference in the way treatment in terms of USA Triathlon, USA Cycling, or is pretty much treatment is treatment?
Oh no, it's completely different. And I'm guessing, and that was even just on the US, but I know like different triathlon federations, it's completely different.
Yes,
But you have to tailor it to the athletes that you have, because if you have different athletes, like what'll get them their best races will be different.
right.
So it just depends on who you are working with.
So you've won pretty much everything in the long distance world at this point.
Mm,
370.3 worlds. Come on now. Kona's
I'm
the
missing
biggie.
one. A
Yeah, you're
big
missing
one.
one. Exactly. What would it
The
mean to
one.
you? What would it mean to you to win this? Because when I look at the list of you've got, the 2022 champion Chelsea Sodaro, you've got Lucy Charles Barkley from 2023. We've got Laura Phillips, we got Kat Matthew. I mean, it's the women's field is deep and it's going to be a phenomenal race. I think it's going to be, it could be very cool, just like the guys getting 5, 6 people off the bike together. That would be really, really fun to see that in Kona with the women in a few weeks, or actually not even a few weeks. What would it
12
mean?
days.
Yeah, what would it mean to you to win this thing?
Oh, I don't think I can think that far ahead. I
Hmm.
mean, it's just like each day at a time and we'll get there and
Right,
we'll see what happens on race day.
exactly. But you're excited.
Oh, I'm very excited. But I also know that it's a special place and a special place for many, many reasons, including the fact that like it's just like they're unique dynamics and you can't predict it. And it also humbles every single person. So
You've ridden a lot of bike courses and a lot of times especially in the world triathlon world, you're doing circles of courses and parking lots and not the greatest courses in the world. This is a pretty pure course, right? You're riding out to Hawi, you're on the Queen K Highway. As somebody who sort of grew up with the sport, there's legendary spots throughout. You got the Energy Lab, all that cool stuff. For you, after doing it once, are there parts of the course that have become your favorites?
well, the finish line's always my favorite. So sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, but I do actually like in terms of a course, this one really excites me a lot.
yeah,
I think it's no secret that in terms of my cycling, the greatest strength is not my handling skills. So the fewer the turns, the better.
yes,
There are a few U-turns, but hopefully we'll get through those
yes,
upright.
yes. That's
But
exactly
yes,
right. Yeah,
but the fact that like you just get to ride and it's so pure, but also like there's so many elements and even each course on like if the race was on a different day, it would be a completely different dynamic because you just never know what the island's going to give you.
right. The marathon training this time, leading into this race, how much different is it than your marathon? Obviously, you didn't do a lot for Texas, but for last time in Kona, pretty different.
It's very different. But I also think it's so also flashback 2 years ago, I didn't have a coach leading into this race. I had two fantastic advisors, but I didn't really have a coach. And so having not only a coach, but Dan Lorang, like, is just like, it's an incredible privilege. And I'm just like always so excited each week to open up my training peaks and see what I have. And I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. Like, oh, I'm excited by that. And I think he's probably exhausted by now and how excited I'm getting for each session, but also kind of like I'm seeing how he does things and it's really neat and special. So, will you get to talk to him in the next 2 weeks?
You know what? I hope so. I need to set that up. I've not chatted with Dan in a while, so we definitely need to redo that. He's one of my favorites. He's unbelievable. And look at all the different people that he's coached and made and worked with at that high level.
Well, and he's just an incredible person, I think, first and foremost.
Yes.
And he's like he understands the human element, which I think is so important.
Hmm.
And he just listens. And that in a coach and in a person, like just being able to be heard and listened to. And like unfortunately or fortunately, Dan's normally always right. So I'll come to him and I'll be like, Dan, I have an idea. Like, what if we try this? And he's like, okay, we can try it, but I don't know if it'll work out. And then, of course, it doesn't work out. So he's like, well, then we get to do it my way. And so then we do it his way. So I've stopped asking. I've stopped, like, I'll give him my ideas, but I also know that he'll say no probably to most of them because they're not smart. And if he had that idea, we would do it. So
You would you would think at this point the training would be pretty predictable. I love the fact that you open up your computer and oh my God, that so it actually does things that surprise you with a lot of your workouts.
well, yeah, and I've never done a like real Ironman build and not with him, but also I know that like one of the reasons why he agreed to work with me hopefully is because of the like that I am a younger athlete. And so
Mhm.
like what I do this year won't be what I'm doing in the future years.
Right.
Because there's even but he got a lot of consistency back in my running that I didn't have before because I'd had a ton of injuries before
Right.
and like knock on wood. But yeah, so in terms of like where I was a year ago versus where I am now is also like very different. So it's interesting to see. But also I've been fortunate enough to work with him with when we've done time trials together, short course triathlon races together, middle distance races together, and now Ironmans together. And spoiler, Dan already knows this. We're going back down and we're gonna just jump distances, which he hates. He's like, you do not make this easy, but that's part of the fun of it. But seeing also how it's very different from like pre-race and how you lead into a race and just the day before the race. But learning me as an athlete and physiologically. So
Yeah. Well, and there was a point a few years ago where you had running injuries to the point where you were hoping you'd be able to continue on. Are you more appreciative of the sport knowing where you were with injuries and now you're knocking on everything, feeling healthy?
well, I think so. So one funny thing actually was that not just one. So I spent a lot of 2021, 2022, and 2023 like kind of hoping I'd get to the start line. And so like there were a lot of race
Mm.
weeks where I'd be like just kind of hopeful I'd get there. And there were some races that I did that quite honestly, like so 70.3 Worlds in 2022, for example. I had a broken foot and I didn't know about it. Great. I was like having like some hip tightness. Surprise, surprise. I mean, it just works its way up. And
Sure.
so, like, I had strict instructions with my team that, like, if I don't look good, if I look like I'm doing damage, you pull me. Like, no negotiations because no, like that was just the deal. And so I've had races where like the deal going in is like if someone says you're done, Taylor, I'm done. For health reasons and stuff like that.
Sure.
So like, but it was like that bad. And so it was like kind of scraping by and trying to get to each start line. And like my PT before Kona last time, he was like, oh, like even my tissue, he was like, we were always behind the ball. We were always like behind and like just like scraping things together. But then so last year, like going into Abu Dhabi, I had a very clean build. And then the funny thing that happened was I was like freaking out because I'm like, wait a second, like I don't like it was too smooth. Now I don't know how to deal with it because it's new and different. So like just getting used to that and having faith and confidence in that is just a different piece.
Not thinking about, oh gosh, okay, who's going to pull me and who's going to do this? And you're like, okay, I'm racing. That's it. I love that. That's the best.
Yes. Yeah, and I did get an MRI this summer because I was having like some left hip tightness and it was a grade 1 muscle strain. So that's nothing apparently, I was told. So that was like 2 weeks before London, but like I just got it to make so my pain tolerance is lowering again. And so just like listening to my body and seeing what it is, but also checking in and trying to make good decisions. Because that's the tough part in the sport is like making good decisions and being able to see like long term, but also short term and what's good. But yeah, he's just an incredible human and a fantastic coach, and I feel very lucky to work with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because sometimes when you look back, guys will be like, "Hey, I didn't think I could race today because I was sick, or I didn't know. I don't know if I didn't know if I could go to starting line and they end up winning the race. That happens sometimes, and other times you end up coming out with an injury. So you don't know when you're supposed to power through something. And I think what you've learned over time is just let's start healthy at the beginning of the year and let's stay healthy. And the fact that you've only done up until this point 4 races, that's wonderful. I mean, I look at 2024 with all the Olympic stuff and the time trial, that was a long ass season. Even though you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins, you still had
7.
Wait, 1, 2, 3.
Well, not all in the sport. So I raced 12 times.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
And
Yeah, I'm just looking at long distance try. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, but so also last year I flew over 100,000 miles.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so like when you think about that in terms of like also like the level of racing and how many times like but unfortunately I felt like I really peaked in Paris and then I never really got back to that and I was like fighting my body. Like so after Dubai I got a message from Dan. That was the Dubai was the 200 grand final and he was like, I am so happy that you're now on off season to give your body a chance to recover. Your body's really giving signs. And I'm like, whoa. Hold up there. I thought we're doing 70.3 worlds.
I've got New Zealand coming up. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Did
because
he?
I really wanted to go to New Zealand. And he's like, okay, I figured we would talk about it and you wouldn't just say okay. And
So he was thinking you were done. Okay, Dubai, I'm going to go on vacation. Oh, wait, I got this little thing called I'm going for my third 70.3 World Championship in a row. I sort of got to do that. It's sort of part of all my sponsorship and everything I do. And I'm
no, but
healthy. Yeah.
but that's the thing. It's like listening to your body and seeing like, is the juice worth the squeeze? And he actually told me, he's like, on the night before the race, he said on the start line, he said, make sure you close your eyes and you like take a few deep breaths and you smile and you appreciate that you've had, regardless of what happens in the next like 4 hours, you've
Yeah.
had an amazing year. And so like to be able to stand on that start line with that kind of like, and even just like start it that way, like how many coaches will tell you to do that? That's pretty incredible. I hope he's not mad that I told that story. But it's just like just kind of appreciating it
Yeah.
is like a gift and a privilege, and it was like the cherry on top to a fantastic season. But
100,000 miles, like when you went through TSA, where they like, hey, Taylor, how you doing? You were on personal name basis in all the lounges with the pilots. Or like, hey, where are you going today? London? I mean, yeah, when I look at it, Dubai, Ibiza, the Olympics in Paris, Cagliari, Yokohama. Oh my God, you were
well, and
everywhere.
also well, and also we went to Abu Dhabi at the beginning of the year, but it was canceled. So
Oh, that's right.
that was a really long trip to go on, to not race, which it was
That wasn't
actually.
worth. That definitely wasn't worth the squeeze.
Well, no, but actually, so do you know what I learned from that trip
What was it?
was so that's why I went to the time trial in Paris. Because so when the race was canceled in Abu Dhabi,
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, can I race in Miami?" Because the 200 was going on the same weekend. And Dan's like, well, he's like, because, okay, so I could have taken a direct flight from Dubai to Miami, taking off at 2:15 a.m., landing at like 10:30 a.m. Miami time. It's like a
yeah.
15-hour flight. The race was at like 5 or 6 p.m., I think. And Patrick
The
could have
same
brought
day.
my, yeah, so, but Patrick could have brought my TT bike. Like it would have all worked. And Mark
Yes.
Andrews was there. So like logistically it would work. And I asked Dan, like, and he's like, well, he's like, only if you fly business. I'm like, okay, done, fine. And he's like, well, my concern is, he's like, you're not really trained for an 18K run yet this year. So I'm like, wait a second. So if we'd done the training, if we'd been prepared for the race, you'd be okay with it. Me flying across the world and racing 8 hours later off of a flight. And so that's what I proposed the time trial, because so how it worked was, so we didn't do the race because we didn't
Right.
want to risk Paris. But so
Right.
how it worked with the time trial was I raced, I think we started at 10:16 a.m. in Yokohama, and I
Yes.
crossed the line probably around 12:10 p.m. I had a 5:30 p.m. flight out of, it's the closer airport. It's not Narita, it's the other one.
Okay.
That's like a 15-minute drive. So I did the podium, drug testing, packed my bags. I was in a taxi by 2:30 p.m. So remember, I crossed the line at 12:10 p.m. And I got there early and I was in the lounge, and then I was on a flight at like 5 p.m. I flew from uh Haneda Airport to Chicago, landed there, and then Chicago to Charleston, got there Saturday night, and then I raced the time trial that Wednesday. But so that's but like don't worry, I flew business because Dan said that as long as I fly
Yeah.
business, I can do it. So I
Right.
mean, I had like a 4 day gap. It was amazing because
Oh,
but had but had
luxury.
I but so had Abu Dhabi not been canceled, I wouldn't have learned that. So I was like, I felt like that was so fortunate in a way where I'm almost like, you know what? The race could have happened and that would have been fine. But like, first of all, it was really draining to go to a race and not race. Like
Yeah,
I was
of
just
course.
exhausted. But I did learn something even more valuable, I think, that gave me a better opportunity of getting to the time trial and racing it. So you can say.
That's amazing.
But
That
again,
is
do you see
amazing.
how like Dan and I talk things out, we work things out, and he'll give him input and tell me why, and I try to listen to him as best as possible. So, because when I do it, normally works out better.
When you
I
have
stick
a
to the plan.
when you have a partnership like that with a coach, that's really what it's all about. You know, we saw that last year with Patrick Lange and his coach, and we see it all the time. You just have to have that relationship where you can bounce stuff off each other, and at the end of the day, you're the athlete. You're going to make final decisions, but when you get great insight from a guy who's done it forever, there's nothing better. When does he get to town?
That's a good question. I think most of my this is how most of my team arrives Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
So that's like I'm losing track of who's coming what days. So it's because I have a very long list of people who are coming, which makes me
Good.
nervous in some ways. But also it's like it's a special race and a special place, and I'm very grateful
Absolutely.
that everyone's taking the time to come, and I hope they get to experience the Big Island for themselves in other ways. Like Aaron is going to play golf on Tuesday and Thursday, so that's all good. Like we everyone's here
Nice.
for more than just the race because it's just like a wonderful place to come in
It
general.
is. It is.
And there's the race.
And if any of your folks the night before the race, if they want to come to my Thank God I'm Not Racing party, they are more than welcome.
Instead of like my 4:30 p.m. dinner, it could be like, okay, have
Exactly.
4:30 p.m. dinner with Taylor, or you get to go to Bob's
Or you
party.
can do
Which one
both.
do you want?
You can go to your dinner and then come to Thank God I'm Not Racing. Get their medal and T-shirt for doing nothing. Medal and hat for doing nothing. That's my favorite.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
really?
You don't know that? We do medals and hats. The
Wow.
the hat actually has a bottle opener in the brim. Where's my hat at? I've got one over here. Yeah, my thank God I'm not racing. Got one here somewhere. I'm gonna grab one. Oh, here, you like this. Oh, this is the
Oh my
medal.
God. Oh
And
wow. But
yeah, the
that's
medal.
2024.
This is
Where's
from
your
last year.
2025?
They're
Yeah.
on the way to the island. Actually, the barge that was taking the metals over, three of the containers fell off. Mine fortunately didn't, but it's got a spinner on it. And how about this? Lights in the ribbon. You can see
Oh
that.
wow. Wow. Goodness gracious.
Then we have Daniela Reef, Jan Frodeno putting the medals on you for eating poo-poos and drinking daiquiris. How about that? And Mai Tais.
Wow. Well,
Yeah, one of yeah,
so one of the things I want to do from the feed is I want them to make like a feed support box. So like
exactly.
let's say I'm ordering like my race nutrition, then I can order a support box of like snacks and stuff you might need when you're supporting because it's a long day and it's
It's a ridiculous
exhausting.
day.
And
Yes.
also as a racer, like I could get these boxes and give them to my supporters as a thank you for being out there and dealing with me and my lovely moods that are there's a spectrum of moods. Yes,
So
but
So my nutrition partner, Precision, they're doing a hangover kit for people leaving the Thank God I'm Not Racing party. It's got a little thing that hangs on the door of your hotel. I'm hungover from Thank God I'm Not Racing. Do not disturb. With all sorts of little hangover products inside. That pretty so you get a medal, you get a hat with a bottle opener and a brim, and then you get the hangover cure. It's a party's got a pretty good guest list between Jan Frodeno, Daniela Reef, Craig Alexander, you name all the pros or Mirinda, everybody will be there. It's pretty fun. We've been doing it
well,
for
so
15 years.
I have two questions about it.
Yes.
First question is, do you have to be excited that you're not racing? Like
No.
if you have any feeling that you wish you were racing, are you not invited?
No, you could be totally bummed that you're not racing because we help you drown your sorrows. You come
Okay.
there and getting a medal from McKeely Jones for doing nothing. It's a pretty good thing.
Well, but you don't want to get something for doing nothing.
Sure
That's
you
not
do.
meaningful.
Oh, it's
No, it's
very
not.
meaningful. Yes, it is. Actually, I had one
Okay.
one of our guests send me a picture of her broken toe because this medal fell off of the ribbon and broke her toe at the airport.
Okay, but then I have a second question.
Yes,
Has
bottle
anyone
openers
who
here too. Couple bottles.
has any racer ever gone to
We
your
Kenny
party?
Glah, Kenny Glah, who did Ironman like 35 years in a row, he would come at 6 o'clock for the party starts at 6, so there's really no reason people
Oh.
can't come at 6, and nobody's going to bed at well, you probably are, but most people aren't going to bed at 6, so they can certainly come.
Well,
Yeah.
so I would ask, what's the highest placer of anyone who's
Mm,
attended your party? Because that would kind of be a really cool thing to become like, okay, how high can you place
that
after going to this
see,
party?
I like that. Actually, I've always kept track of the people who go right from the party to the start line to
Oh my
watch
gosh.
to be, to be on the wall, and they go and sleep on the wall after staying at the party till midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning. It's
Oh wow, so it's a big party. I
it's
don't
a
really go
pretty
to
good party.
parties, so I'm not. I'm not aware.
There
So
you go. There you go.
I'm getting more fun, but
Yeah.
not fun enough to go to that before my race yet.
No, not
We'll see.
before the
That
race.
might be
After the
in 10
race.
years.
After the race. Yes. But I will pull a medal and a shirt and a hat for you just because you're one of our favorite guests of all time. I love chatting with you, Taylor. You're just the best. So much
I'm
fun.
sorry I'm taking your whole evening up.
No, this is the best way ever to spend an evening. Are you kidding? I love it. Your backdrop is perfect. You got the beautiful house and a little backyard, and it's wonderful. Taylor, good luck on race day. Have the best time. Just enjoy it all. It's going to be really, really fun.
Well, thank you. Good luck with your party first. And I hope we see each other in person race week.
We will definitely see each other in person. Again, Taylor Knibb has been our guest. Breakfast with Bob, our Kona World Championship edition. We'll be starting live interviews on Monday, October 6th with Lucy Charles Barkley at Hug Goes on the Rocks. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. See ya.